Good evening and salutations, my soap opera fans. As the title suggests, will be collateral damage in this mob war on General Hospital. I mean, hell, people thought it was going to be Christina. At one point, could have been Marco because of Christina's stupidity. This war is far from over. We got so much to talk about. Even though I did my review, we got a hell of a lot to talk about. We're going to sit there and talk about it all tonight, as well as all the other five soap operas. You know what they are. So let's sit there and do roll call and get this started. Amy's in the chat. How you doing tonight? Amber's in the chat. How you doing tonight? Ryan, aka GH fan. Yes, it is a surprise. I did sit there and see your comments. Good to see you tonight. Blackmon, aka Mr. GQ, is in the chat. Cherry Ice Cream's in the chat. How you doing tonight? Double C's in the chat. How you doing tonight? Big Nate is in the chat. How you doing tonight? At the Bank is in the chat. How you doing tonight? Spider-Quake is in the chat. How you doing tonight? I saw Days, and I don't know how you feel. Defend Sophia for what she did. How you feel? How do you feel? What? Defended Sophia for what she did? What? I'm sorry, I'm lost the question. I'm doing good, Black Man. How you doing? Spikewick says, I think what Sophia did was way worse than what Brooklyn did. Oh, okay, please. I want to know how. I'm not being sarcastic. Like, I generally want to understand where you going with that. Here it is. Ed said, Doug is a dumbass. Ask Roman for help or call the cops. Yeah, let's be honest. Doug can't do anything right. Okay? That mofo just cannot do anything right. I am good, Black Man. How are you doing tonight? Uh, Ryan said I actually wasn't planning on coming on tonight since I didn't watch the episode, but when I read online that Jocelyn got on her soapbox about Sunny, I decided to come through. Spikework says I think the aftermath is what makes you think Brooklyn Lie is worse. Yes. Plus, I wouldn't really saw it a Brooklyn Lie. I say it's more a Lois Lie. That's interesting. And Rihanna, it's so good to have you tonight. Now, where the hell's my music at? It's so good to have you tonight. Well, I mean, it's always good to have you. But it is really good to have you tonight. And by the way, this weekend I have something fun. I have some fun stuff this weekend. So if you are not a member, okay, like I'm telling you, become a member. Become a member. Yeah, Doug just can't do anything right. Like Ed said, I'll call the goddamn cops, call the Roman, get the FBI involved, do something other than what you're doing. You're having two young girls caught up in a crossfire because you're just a goddamn screw up. And you know what? I'm actually like this, and this is before I'm start drinking. Okay, and I got my bottle right over there. Okay, so I didn't even get started. Oh, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun, Ariana. It's gonna be fun. Spikequick says, at least, at at least Brooklyn and Lois wanted their kid to be happy life and adopted to a family. Sophia basically left her newborn in the streets. Well, no, because she left it at a safe haven. And that's practically, it's like leaving a child at a fire station. Um, okay. All right. That's interesting. Is it bringing the wine kind of fun? I mean, is it, I mean, bringing the wine is always a fun option, but it is always a fun option. Ryan says my issue with Jocelyn here is that she doesn't seem to care about the fact that everyone she loved also loves Sunny. That makes her just as selfish as Sunny. Okay, maybe you should watch that part of the episode because yes, and I get what you're saying, but honestly, to tell you the truth, as much as I don't like Jocelyn, she's not wrong. Michael got burnt up in the fire because of standing too close to Sunny. Morgan, Christina, the list goes on. Come on, Ryan. Aaron says your face gives you away. Sly Quick says I lost all respect for Sophia after today, but Brooklyn. Okay, all right. Ed says I really hate the storyline on days. They are usually time consuming, but this one really needs to end. Where is Walter? Autumn says Abba Jocelyn was very annoying. Like, girl, shut the f up. Your mother, Alexis, Ava, everyone knew what they were getting into when they chose to have children with Sonny. Jocelyn is a hypocrite. I feel like I'm the only person that's defending Jocelyn. Where the hell is Jess at? Yeah, she's not wrong, but it's not just that she hates Sonny, it's that she wants to take him down without caring how it will hurt her family. I think his family would be better off without Sonny when you really stop to think about it. What Jocelyn doesn't seem to understand is that these are grown adults that choose to associate with Sonny. They know him. Gorgeous Queen Janet, hi, I like Jocelyn and the guy, yeah. The guy Bond. Bond is so much of a step up from Dex, I don't even know where to begin. Oh, that's what I had to begin. Where the hell is my goddamn music at? No, no, that's not what I wanted. They won't see it that way, that's my point. Well, I think that may be true, but ultimately they'll be a lot safer without Sunny in their lives, and maybe they should also thank him. Maybe they should also thank him. Just thank her. Not a fan of this upcoming storyline with charging Sunny with murder and with no proof either, which is amazing. Oh, okay, there we go. And Michael has been in a coma for a year because of Sunny in a burn unit and killed his dad, AJ, when Michael begged him not to. Don't know how Michael still have love for Sunny. That's Zach Roseman just saying. My issue with that was that he let it go. See, let me tell you what my issue with that was. Sonny killed his real dad, right? I mean his bio dad. If you was able to sit there and forgive that, which I don't understand how he was able to do that, but the whole mom and betraying the family and all this other stuff, that's what took you over the edge. Not when he killed your bio dad. Nah, that's what blew me. That's what blew me. That's what blew me. Yeah, that's what blew me. AJ was an abusive crowd. Yeah, and I get that, and I get that. But like, he wasn't the one that killed Connie. And that's why Sonny wanted to sit there and off him because he thought that he killed Connie. And he told Michael, I'm not going to do it. You have my word. And then he goes and he does it anyway. So, like, yes, he was. And I have to tell you the truth, Sonny's no angel. Um, so, like, yes. But, yeah. Yeah, that's my thing. Sir, he made a slight mistake. Just a slight mistake. It happens. Why is my music so loud? Spikewick says AJ was choking Ava when Sonny offed him. That's true. And I'm gonna have to go back and have to rewatch that scene. But you know, listen, I'm just saying. You know, um, Johnson wasn't wrong. And you know what? Again, and I said this, I said this in my review, but I just could not understand. Me watching Michael sit there and talk about how much he loves his father and everything like that. I'm like, bro, you just came from a burn unit because you was too close to Sonny, but you're talking about your love and admiration for him. And it was Christina that was sitting there saying, "Yeah, I know that this might be a turf war, but I don't blame Sonny. Girl, your bar just burnt down. You almost burnt down with it. Like, what are we talking about?" Eagle says, "Aren't you sick and tired of the entire town blaming Sonny when something goes wrong in Port Charles? Jocelyn has made a career out of hating Sonny." To an extent, yes. But if we sit there and look at it, and I can't believe I'm Smith there saying this, um, she wasn't wrong. Brian says, even though we disagree about that, I was glad that you previously acknowledged that you understood why Michael was mad over Nixon falls in the aftermath. You just think he overreacted. Yes. Jocelyn's just a hypocrite. She blames Sonny and not Jason. Yeah, but Jocelyn Smith there taking out the town's trash is a lot different than people getting caught up in Sonny's world just because he stands too close to him. Ultimately, it's Sitwell's fault. I don't think that should be forgotten. Are, are you serious? Like, are you serious? No, no. Okay, you know what? Sure, sure. It's ultimately Sitwell's fault. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's where we're going. Abetta says Jocelyn forgot she's a killer. Well, let's see. Who has brought more pain and death to the family, Jocelyn or Sonny? Yeah, yeah, I remember that. What? Okay, what does that have to do with his admiration for Sonny? See, this is my whole thing. You're putting this on Sitwell, but the thing is, at the end of the day, that's Sonny's enemy right there, and Michael got caught up in the crossfire. So we're not going to sit there and act like ultimately this is Sitwell's fault when you're sitting there talking about you love and you admire a guy who you stood too close to, and more than once wind up paying the price for it. So yes, his love and everything like that is goddamn misguided. Like that is absolutely insane. Yes, just like yeah, and listen, and let's sit there and talk about when he was in the coma. Who was the guy that wound up shooting him? Ian Devlin or something like that. The shooter, it wasn't Sonny. It was the shooter's fault. But guess what? He was standing too close to Sonny. So yes, ultimately Johnson was right. Here's the thing. I get that people do not like Jocelyn, okay? And I'm not a fan of hers either, okay? So we're not going to sit there and try to act like Jocelyn is the most likable person. But listen, when somebody brings up some facts, regardless if we like them or not, those facts should not sit there and be discounted. Is ultimately what it comes down to. Just saying. Okay, so Eagles clearly being the jokester tonight. Johnson has no high ground to walk on. She's a cheater, Cameron, and she killed the man just like what Sonny does. Are you sick? Oh, that's a sub. Okay, good. I mean, I wasn't. Well, thank you for letting me know about that, Eagle. I appreciate that. Ariana says they know who Sunny is. It's their choice to stay or walk away. They need to take responsibility for what they choose to do. And yes, no, and you're 100% correct. No, Eva, no, I appreciate that. You know what? Honestly, tell you the truth, that alone makes my inflated Netflix bill worth it. And you know what? Ariana is correct. And Ariana is correct. Yes, because you know what? We'll start with Michael. Michael, you have a family now. Maybe you should probably distance yourself from Sonny. You know, I thought he should probably distance himself from Sonny the minute he got married and he had Wiley. He comes back from a burn clinic. You would think that, you know what, me standing next to Sonny might want to taking me away from my kids again. Nah, as said, AJ only choked Ava because Ava pulled a gun out on him to kill him, and her gun didn't go off, so AJ went after her because it was life or death. Okay, I'm gonna have to watch that scene again. Hey, Amber. Ariana says, "Oh, Josh is a wishy-washy airhead that likes Sunny one day and not the next. However, she can fight in heels and a gown. Yeah, she just is that type of badassness like that. Yeah, but I mean, I get what you're saying, Ryan. I feel like that's kind of more of an excuse. At the end of the day, just step up and just be like, you know what, listen, I'm not going to do this anymore. You know, it's like if Michael had more people, if Michael didn't have this, no, 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 no. Michael has a brain. He has two legs. He has a voice. He can simply say, you know what, I don't want to be a, like, I love you, but I got to love you from a distance. Okay. He should do that the moment he had Wiley, and he should have definitely did that afterwards. So, but what's good, Lisa? How you doing tonight? As said Julie on her soapbox again. Dog made a mistake. Jack done bad things. She made mistakes herself. JJ and Abby slept with people they shouldn't have, like EJ and Eve, but she won't forgive Doug. Yeah, that's my whole thing. Like, part of me just feels like I'm starting to get kind of. And thank you, Lucy. Yeah, hit that goddamn like button. We got 22 people up in this chat. I hope that we got the even amount of likes because that definitely would help. And Yvette says, Vetta says, don't forget I was sit well started the whole thing. Anyway, Sunny has been very sloppy lately. Sound like excuses to me. What I used to sit there and call that excuses lane. Ronnie Ron, only eight. So let me hit that like button. You're right, Yvette. You're correct. Hit that like button. Oh, okay. All right. So we got 10 likes and 21 people in the chat. We're getting there. Ron says, now I understand Julie's anger. Dog is such a douchebag. He needs to just get his act together. He also putting Ari and Holly's life in danger. He needs to go to the cops. And thank you for that, Ariana. Thank you. So I hit the like button too. So yes, that's exactly what Smith is saying, right? And listen, I get what your Smith is saying, but I feel like you're just giving excuses to Michael. And I'm not about excuses, Lane. Get it done. You got kids. What's good, Kyron? Eagle says, did BLQ throw shade at Maxie for not doing her job on today? If so, we all saw it for an entire year that Maxie's the only. No, I didn't. I didn't see her actually throw shade at Maxie. Now, Janet says for some reason the unalive of Natalia is really no big deal. Now, the unaliving of Natalia is really no big deal. Yeah, I mean, you know, with these soap operas, these actors that go on there, there's no guarantee that they're always going to get a good story or they're going to be liked or well received or anything like that. You know what? Yes, and let's talk about Selena Wu for a minute. Let's talk about Selena Wu for a minute, okay? Because this is one of those things where I think it has more to do with the actor than it does about the character. Okay, because I don't see Selena just sitting there saying, you know what, well, you're right. Even though I built this long and tired um rapport with Sonny, and that I can simply just set up a meeting to make sure he won't just try to off me right off rip. I'm gonna listen to you. Exactly, I'm gonna listen to you because you seem to know Sonny more than I do. Even though I had spent like a couple of years with him, you know more than I do. So I guess I should just sit there and just leave town for now because you set me up so well. Also, why does she have to leave town for? Like seriously. Okay, why does Sitwell want Selena to leave town? Okay, I know there must be a reason for that, but I think it has a lot more to do with the actor than anything else. Um, it just like I said, this is more. It says the actress has a project coming up that plays Selena called "Get Off My Lawn." What? Okay, I'm gonna look that shit up. Hold on. And it's on Tubi. Is that? It has the chick from Days of Our Lives, Gabby, came in on Ariana. I gotta sit there and come in with the thunder. I gotta come in with the thunder. And of course, it's on fucking Tubi. I'm gonna watch the rest of this later on. Jenna says, I'm looking forward to July 10th. Daytime Award nominees. I hope we talk about them. Yes, we definitely will. I will make a point of. Oh, with my goddamn pen. I'll make a point. Okay, I just wrote that down, so I will make it a point to talk about that. It's actually funny. I was watching a little bit of JOJ, and he was talking about it. So yes, we will damn sure talk about it. Ed says Hobby is too impulsive because he just started his new job and nobody in that house prepared to help out with that baby. He told Leo the baby hours when he asked. Yeah, he just literally just walked in and was just like, "Okay, we're gonna have a baby." It's like, what? Big Brother's premiering. Okay, True Seeker, True Seeker. How are you doing? Well, I feel like hold on, I need to see something. I saw your channel somewhere. Could you actually have your own YouTube channel? Janice says, "One of anyone from Beyond the Gates will be announced, or is it too soon?" I think it's too soon. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think it will be too soon. Um, I am actually curious, though. I'm actually curious because, like, I want to sit there and see who is going to be on there. And I mean, like, they do international soaps too and everything like that, like a show called Hollyoaks. So I'm very curious about how they're gonna do it. Now Ron says, what the F is wrong with Sophia? Doesn't she know that Amy, Tate, and others would be suspicious of where the child is and the stupid hobby just taking the child home when he pays no bills? Well, to be fair, he got a job now. He got a job now, so but yes, like what you call it said, it is it is very impulsive. Um, I'm very curious to sit there and see how is Connor Floyd going to sit there and play Chad. Chad, and again, it's this weird switcheroo that they're doing. Um, Days is getting an actor from YNR, and YNR is getting an actor from Days. Like it's great. And today it looks like they're going to sit there and. I mean, I don't know how many people are actually watching The Young and the Restless, but um, it looked like they're going to sit there and kill off Cole. What are we doing at this point? What's good, Jonathan? Now, Ryan says, I know I'm very late saying this. No, you're never too late saying this. But I have to agree with you about not liking the nurses' ball. I do love drama that happens during it, though. Yeah, I'm not a fan of performances. Like, I don't care. I've never cared. But I do like the stuff that goes on behind the scenes and everything. So I will sit there and say that. That I will agree. And no, you're never too late to sit there and say that. But yeah, I'm very curious as well. I wonder if James is actually going to be allowed to go to the Emmys um, this coming year. Oh, my name is now spelled with a K at the end. Awesome. Albert Bostic. What do this whole Jocelyn joining the WSB to get rid of things? Do you think it will come to it? Get rid of? Um, I'm assuming if you're talking about Sunny, then maybe. There's very few that can, right? Ryan, like the guy that plays Cameron. Oh, absolutely, Jonathan. I know that. Why am I not able to post? Post what? What are you trying to post, True Seeker? What are you trying to post? Yeah, what are you trying to post? Ron says Albert when Tate finds just Rosalina, just Rosalina's blue characters leaving the show. Yeah. What are you trying to where are you trying to post that? That's my question. Are you trying to post on your channel? Are you trying to post on my channel? Was trying to say oh yeah, yeah, they for some odd reason they don't let you send links on on live streams for some odd reason. But no, I'll find it. But thank you though, True Seeker. I appreciate that. Ron says Albert when Tate finds out what Sophia did, he will go after her, but I'm sure her mother will be another story. Yes. You know it's funny? Johnson says, do you think Julie's being too hard on Doug? That's the same question that Ed was there saying. And on some level, yes. Yeah, on some level, yes. Because, listen, being young and dumb is part of growing up, right? I'm not sitting there saying that that gives me an excuse to act like an asshole or anybody to sit there and just do dumb stuff, but it is what it is. And again, Doug wasn't exactly an angel when he was young. Neither was Julie, and even Steve was like, "Yo, listen, he was no saint as well." So on some level, I'm starting to get kind of over this whole grudge thing. Now, Ed says not a fan of Harley and Tate getting back together because it came out of nowhere, and he's basically her backup. Yeah, exactly. So you watched my review, so you know that I sat there and said that the only reason why she came to that resolution was because Doug kept giving her the cold shoulder. Yeah, Ron, that's part of being young and dumb. That's literally part of being young and dumb, doing stupid things. And at some point, they're family, right? And I get it. It sucks. It stings, and especially somebody betraying you, and not just anyone, your blood. I get that part. But at some point, you know, it's like, damn, you're in the last final stages of your life. You really want to sit there and leave this world knowing that you could have made amends with him? Like, come on, what are we doing? Yeah, I don't understand that. I mean, what Maggie essentially wound up doing was that they're saying, well, listen, there was a lot of toxic things I didn't like about Victor, but I learned to sit there and just live with it. And so you should do that too. What? What are we doing? But yes, that's interesting that like she's leaving. I should have put that down as a what you call it as a title, but I mean, her leaving the show is not even. What's good, Crystal Ramirez? Uh, I love you. I love your whole name, Crystal Ramirez. What do you think about what when Pash told Julie about getting a I didn't think any of it. I just thought that he gave her some sort of hope as far as getting her necklace back. I was more concerned with the fact that Steve was trying to tell Julie, maybe you shouldn't be so hard on Doc. We've all been there at that age where we've done stupid stuff. But Julie wants to sit there and be all stubborn and everything like that. Like, I don't know. I just carrying all that negative energy over a grudge just seems like it. Like for me personally, I look at that like carrying all that negative energy blocks any sort of blessings that I will sit there and get in the future. And I don't need that. Okay, I need as much blessings as I can get. So that's how I tend to look at it. No, Rod, we're just friends. There's no benefits or anything like that. We're just friends. Well, Vaughn holds, Vaughn holds, Vaughn holds, um, Vaughn holds Jocelyn's speech to fire. Okay, he's not afraid to sit there and call her out on her BS, and that's the type of person that she needs. Jenna says Jane Elliott on JH will probably get a supporting actress nominee. All right. Johnson says Julie's no stranger to holding grudges. Yeah, unfortunately. Right. Okay. So you're gonna tell me that's a joke, right? What you're saying right now? I'm not gonna stop posting this until you respond. I'm pretty sure I can sit there and make sure that you'll stop posting that. Like I can make sure that you can stop you can you'll stop posting that. It's not a challenge you want to sit there and throw out. But I read it. Just don't be so annoying about it in the future. This week of GH has been so nice without the Three Stooges, although one of them is appearing tomorrow. Can you want to guess who they are? Okay, Ryan. Parents Albert, they don't, they don't, but they'll find out the hard way. So it's a weird way as far as being playful, but okay. No, that's okay. You know, Ed, it's funny. I read that completely different. Okay, because the thing is, yeah, Sitwell set that fire, but he didn't know that Marco was going to be there, and maybe that was just a parent in him, but he had that look of regret. Like my son could have got caught up. Yeah, exactly, Jonathan. My son could have got caught up in something that I intended on doing. You remember way back when Sonny ordered that hit on Julian with the whole car bombing, and he thought that he's the one that set that set that bombing, and Morgan got caught up in the crossfire. So yeah, Ariana says Silva had a moment of weakness. This is his undoing. I like it Sitwell. I like it Sitwell. I do. It is all forgiven, Ron. It is all forgiven. But listen, Ned. I mean not Ned. Willow and Nina and Drew. Listen, those are the characters that bring in the drama. Okay, those are the characters that bring in the drama, and I'm here for that. Those are the characters that bring in the drama. So they need to get their asses back here ASAP. They need to get their asses back here ASAP. Who watched Born the Beautiful today? That's what I want to know. Who watched Born the Beautiful today? What the f- is this? That's interesting. Yeah, did anyone actually watch what you call today? I'm very curious about that. What did you Okay. All right. What y'all think of it? What did y'all think of it? Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When they were doing when Hayes was not there telling them about the origami game, that was that was a really interesting scene because you can tell like they started to get kind of creeped out. Like they genuinely started to get creeped out when they was not there. Um, okay, Ron. They started to genuinely get creeped out about it. So I found that to be interesting. What's good 179? Lulu likes to bring the drama. That's what's up. Oh, where's my music at? There you go. Aaron said they were uncomfortable. Yeah, they were uncomfortable. Um, Again, I don't understand. Like, okay, you know your son is going to a summer camp or whatever, right? You know your or whatever. Shouldn't we have sat there and warned that teacher about like, okay, if this person shows up, make sure you call the cops or make sure you call us or anything like that. And then you have Sheila. Okay, so Sheila literally heard from Remy that this chick was at a gun range. And then she thought back about the sentence that she said, well, I'm going to go out with a bang. Girl, at this point, you should be sitting up there calling Lee or Finn or Steppy. You should be going over the house being like, yo, listen, you got to sit there and because even if it's not for Steffi, which I don't understand why she was a little bit so more compassionate with Steffi. I'm like, this is about your granddaughter, you know, who she kissed on the lip. Yo, I'm never gonna sit there and like let that shit go. She kissed that girl on her goddamn lips. And this is exactly I agree. However, the rich folks don't have alarms or nannies or security. Or security. Don't forget about security. Because remember, after Abigail got, unalive, EJ didn't bother to sit there and think, you know what I need? Security. I don't feel like doing that. I just want to be a penny pitcher. It's definitely possible. That's what I was just saying. Yeah, they're definitely poised to be collateral damage. They're absolutely going to get caught in that crossfire. Johnson says she'll also kiss her daughter on the lips. That's nasty. Jesus in Christ. It's not, you're right, Ed. It's not in the budget. That is nasty. It's going to be interesting tomorrow. Yes, Willow and Michael. Um, it's going to be hella interesting. Ryan and other people. Rory originally auditioned for the Bond role. Like he originally auditioned for that role, but he did chem tests with everyone, and apparently people was like, nope. He got way too much chemistry with damn near every person that he has interacted with. So we're gonna have him be Michael. Ron says, do you think there's going to be a battle for Victoria between Sarah and Zen? I mean, a custody battle. For Bond, Jocelyn's soon-to-be boyfriend. That's who he was supposed to play. Um, it's possible. I think it's less likely though. I think with these custody battles, they got too many other stories to do rather than to sit there and start getting to a custody battle. I think they're gonna sit there and do more of a battle of the hearts between Xander and Sarah. Because with Sarah, I can't get over this Paul, even though this man is a completely fucking dangerous person. Um, good old Alice. What do they call her? The Dominator? Wasn't that right at the or chat? Didn't they call her the Dominator? Yeah, and of course, Ryan. When Rory got the role, his parents was happy because um his parents loved General Hospital. So I don't know how the hell they felt about when he was on Young and the Restless. Surprisingly, Billy Flynn, his parents actually is a huge fan of the Young and the Restless. Yeah, you remember Ryan, the Dominator. Oh, fun, 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 fun. All right, my One Life to Live fans. What is an interesting scene? What was the most interesting scene on One Life to Live that y'all can think of? I want to know. What was the most interesting scene that y'all can think of on One Life to Live? I know this is outside the field of the five shows that Aaron says, "Look, I don't give a flip about how Rory got to be Michael. Best recast ever." Yeah, no, it's just interesting how it got to that point. You know how it could have been. You know, yes, Ron, and you know, Sarah's more of a pillar of the community for the most part. You know, she's a doctor and everything, and good standing. So you know, she got as says Connor's parents are happy that he's going to be on days, and Billy mentioned with it. Yep, well, Michael Freeman, yep. Sure. Sky finding out that Ray is her mother. You, Ariana, you are good. You're good. I would only listen to this Anna because, like, you know, it's the way that casting is done a lot of times, not just with that, but just in general, like, how if the right person and talk to the right person or whatever, like, how it would have been different, you know? As says Tina's courtroom wanted to live scene where Marty, when she broke her down, when she challenged her about looking up Todd back when she didn't know who he was. Okay. Blackmon says, I am old, but the Alex and Cassie battle over Bo. Alex almost John Cassie putting her head on the water. And that's one like to live. Alex, and that's one like to live. Ron says you can't have both, meaning Candace Mac or Cat Lady. Get it together, you waffler. You're right. Blackmon, if you find that scene, DM me, okay? Aaron says, I got you. I had that in my head when you read it. It was way too. Nah, you good. Yeah, okay. I would definitely look that up. Let me screenshot that. Thank you, Ryan. Let's not stream that. Okay, good. I actually managed to screenshot that too, Jonathan. Thank you. That is awesome. Where's my music at? But you know, why do you always gotta sit there and have Luna dress up as a goddamn race car driver? Why did he do that to that character? Now, I'm very curious about what she's going to be on. Like, because let's be honest, they are poised to sit there and get rid of Luna. She is no longer fit for this world. She has had a very bumpy and stupid ride to some extent. I mean, first they okay. Think about this for a minute. They play Luna as the good girl, right? Then they decide they want to make her a villain. So they have her do all these crack-headed, mischievous, and thank you, Black Mom, and crazy shit. They put her in the Black Widow outfit. Yeah, I'm like, and then they make her be the bad guy. She's offing people left and right, and then she goes to jail. Okay, cool. That's the last we're gonna sit there and see of her. No, then she appeals to Bill Spencer, and he gets her a part. Okay, listen, I may not know the Bold and Beautiful history as much as other people, but like, when did Bill have so much power he can get people pardoned from murder, from double? Bill got this chick pardoned from double murder. You know, I'm gonna sit there and say this again, and this is for the people that don't even watch the Bold and the Beautiful. But what? And by the way, this guy is not like a senator or anything like that, but like this guy got this character pardoned for a double fucking murder. Like what? And now she's about to sit there and murder somebody else again. Like Bill got folks in his pocket. Yeah, I'm like clearly just. I'm just so like, what the fuck am I watching? Brian says I found out a few years ago about some celebrities that are or were so big or were big soap fans. For example, Aretha Franklin was a huge Y&R fan. Yeah, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about that. Well, not about that, but just my thoughts about as far as soaps and stuff. As says Albert in my last mention of One Life to Live when Marco confrontation with Langston when he broke out with her when he found out she cheated on him with Ford. Yeah. Oh, tomorrow. So yeah, I'll sit there and say this now. Tomorrow I got a surprise for y'all. I'm not gonna sit there and say what it is, but I got a surprise for y'all. You know, soap operas are it's an interesting genre. Like I do other type of content and stuff, and I'm going to continue doing that. But soap operas is a very interesting genre. Is an interesting genre, right? And in a sense, you almost kind of like I thought about this a little bit, and you're almost a little bit of the inspiration, Ryan, because people tend to sit there and get so invested, so emotionally invested, and they tend to get angry with each other, right? When you agree with a character or somebody disagrees with the character, because it's not so much as the character, but it's what the character stands for. Um, you have ideas that are very similar to the characters. So like oftentimes, especially back in the day before I had to sit there and essentially fucking crack the whip, um, people used to sit there and get into arguments because they didn't just disagree with you because you said something that they didn't like. It was more about whatever the character stood for, and that goes across all five of the soap operas. But you know, um, And it says, "Oh Lord, we've been down that rabbit hole." Yeah, we have. we definitely have. Unfortunately, I mean, I like to kind of call them growing pains if we're gonna be cute about it, but still. And it says Sonny at this point knows should know to call Diane when Anna told him you're coming down to the station about Natalia's Ramirez death. Yeah, no, he got her on speed dial. I mean, I don't think he's stupid enough to sit there and start talking to her without his lawyer, but you know, there's a first step for everything. But yeah, um, yeah, because Ryan once sat there and said like, you know, it's a little hard when you get emotionally invested with these characters. And, you know, my answer to that was, you know, you got to understand that these are fictional characters, and I will stand by that. These are fictional characters. We should not be snitting or worked up with each other over fictional characters. You know. Because I think it's just fucking silly and it's stupid and it's like go outside and touch some goddamn grass. But see, people get worked up not because of so much the love and admiration for the characters, but what the character stands for. Jonathan, I would hope he would. I would sincerely hope he would. So that's the thing. That's the thing, Charity. It's like, so good job for you, Ryan. Good job for you. You know, it's Ryan. My thought about it was that when Sonny turned her down as far as going down to wherever they were supposed to go down to, that was the last straw, right? You know, Ryan, often when people sit there and do that, they have demons that's has been weighing on them before it gets to that point. Whatever that point is their final straw. You know, she didn't sit there and take that stuff, sit there and try to make Sonny look like a murderer. She did that because that was the last straw. Remember, she was sitting there thinking about the conversation that she had with Marco. Um, and I felt like if license rights or whatever, she probably would have thought about all those times that she had interactions with Allison or Blaze. You know, I don't know if they can actually use her clips anymore because the way that she got let go was not exactly favorable. Irena says Diane calls Sonny and Jason her favorite clients. She's their private attorney. She's also one that pays them. Queen Jess, how the hell have you been? You know, it's really funny. I was not there. I was okay. I was not there defending Jocelyn, and I was like, "Damn, where the hell is Jess at?" I was like, "Where is Jess at when I'm not there out here in these streets defending King Jocelyn?" Oh yeah, no, she definitely OD. Yeah, exactly. Just coming in here like a goddamn celebrity. I mean, as you are. That's funny. Just says you're defending Jocelyn. Wow, I'm shocked. She annoyed me. I know, Jess. I know. I'm acknowledging it. But ain't that a? See, that's the thing, Cherry. And Cherry, Cherry has been here for a while, and she knows how I will go in on Jocelyn like there's no tomorrow. For using Cameron like a goddamn toilet seat and other things. But she wasn't wrong today, though. That's the thing. She was not wrong today. It's the second time I was about to drop my goddamn phone. She was not wrong today. Oh, good. I'm glad you're here also, Jess. I get to sit there and blame you. Uh, she knows I'm going to blame her for it. But she wasn't wrong today, though. All that collateral damage, Morgan and Christina and Michael, not once but twice, all came down to Sunny. You goddamn right, Ariana. A goddamn toilet seat. Use that poor man who was being like the best son to Mom Dukes. Use that man like a damn toilet seat. I would stand by that shit 110%. As says Alexis better enjoy Molly and Christina getting along because when she finds out what Christina did and how her mother covering up for her dad blackmailed Molly going to be on the warpath. Absolutely, Ryan. Just say, yeah, we know Sonny is a bad man and puts his kids in harm's way. She has said this over and over again. I didn't need to hear it again today. Wow. You know what that sentence just said right there? Chat, I want y'all to read that sentence. That sentence just said, hell has finally frozen over. Hell has finally frozen over because I'm out here saying that they're defending Jocelyn. Like, you know what? Jocelyn is right. And Jess, who likes Jocelyn, okay, Jess, you don't think that Vaughn is a better person for Jocelyn? I have to be very careful with my words. It's been more than one time I have sat there and called her. I've sat there and said Joss is Jess and Jess is Joss. So I have to be very fucking careful with my words. Ryan says, however, everyone is responsible for their own acts. You know, that's true. Yeah, you are no, you are right, Ariana. You are. You are. It does. It's not about something. It comes down to their choices. Hmm. Ryan says, however, everyone is responsible for their own actions. The person who is the most responsible for the explosion is the person who ordered it. Oh, Ryan, that is hilarious. It's funny too, because like Ryan and Ariana are basically saying like are saying like essentially almost the same thing. So that's interesting. Ed says, I need Sunny to decide, are you mob boss or poor Charles hero? I think for Sunny, um, is both. Um, yes and no. Yes and no, Ryan. But like, I don't think you're necessarily wrong. But I also do feel like Sunny, Sonny is a problem. Sonny is a goddamn problem. Okay? Let me tell you something, Ryan. I was a huge how effing dumb was that scene yesterday with Christina at the bar. Yo, I said that shit yesterday in my review. I was like, yo, girl, you have a back door. Okay, listen. I'm gonna sit there and say this shit again. Okay, Justice is your fault. I'm gonna say this shit again. Okay, the fire you couldn't put out. You sat there and you watched the fire. You watched the whole thing burn. I get it, fight or flight mode. But then you just sat there and looked at the fire. I'm like, you have a back door. I'm pretty sure, even if at some point in your time of working at that bar, you had a goddamn back door. Okay, Marco had to come in there. She's like, help, help, help. What do you mean help? Girl, there's a fucking back door right there. So Marco had to sit there and come into the burning building. And then they realized that going back through the front door is, blocked because of fire. So he's like, is there any other exit we could sit there and go? And she's like, yeah, there's a back entrance. I was like, mind you, again, I was going to the supermarket when I saw that scene. Okay, I had to sit there and put the phone in my pocket and just be like, I know she did not just sit there. You almost had that man burn alive because you was yo. What? Why did he do that to her for? Oh, not the best of my time. Why did he do that to her for? Why? I think that might have been the dumbest scene I've seen in a very long time of soap opera. Aaron says Christina had that dazed and confused look down. What's good, Stephen? What else would you expect from Christina? I don't know. I mean, Aaron says, what do you think of the argument that Sunny being the mob was a protest is better than anyone else taking over? I've read that point. But yes, because ultimately he keeps the violence down to a minimum, right? He doesn't traffic, um, you know, hugs or whatever. Just put a D in front of it, and he keeps the crime down to a minimum, as opposed to like Alcazar, as opposed to like anybody else that has actually come into that town. You know. Well, the thing is, Ed, he's a better villain than what Cyrus was towards the end. I would sit there and say that much better villain than Cyrus was towards the end. So that's a step up, even if Cyrus set a low bar. And Jess says, I happened to catch B&B today. How do you think it will end for Luna and Stephanie? I think Stephanie's going to get hurt because the thing is, they got to sit there and take the actress out because she's pregnant. Okay, and she's supposed to probably go on maternity leave. So they got to find some sort of way to sit there and take the actress out. And as far as Luna, well, she's supposed to be on another show, or she's supposed to be doing something else. So they're gonna find a way to sit there and take out they're gonna temporarily take out Steffi, and I guess with the other actress, they may take her out permanently. Yeah, so they might take her out permanently. I'll say that much. But the actress that plays Steffi, Jacqueline, yeah, she probably do almost any minute. Just if you notice the way that they've done the camera work, they try to find ways to position it where it's like they're not showing her stomach. You know, Ariana says Maurice Bernard signed for 1 more year. They got to do something with him. Do you think okay? Do you think that his exit is actually going to be good, or do you think his exit is going to be like Luke Spencer in a sense? Just as yeah, I know if they don't show her lower half. Yeah, at least they're trying, Jess. I remember when they had the other chick that played what's her name? Lulu. They stopped trying with her. When Emma Ryans got pregnant, like halfway through, they just said fuck it. And I remember that specifically when she was on the red carpet, ladies. I'm not trying to be mean. Okay, so don't cancel me or anything like that. But like that chick was waddling. Okay, she was waddling. Okay, Emma Ryan was waddling, and I noticed that a lot in her scenes. They just stopped giving them. Like what says, do you think Beyond the Gates is the second best soap? Because no, it is definitely not the best. No, there is no second best. Sorry, are you joking with me? Are you being serious? Sean says, I read that. Oh, what's good, Sean? I'm cool with Car Ashley. The second best? Oof. Second to what? Second to what? Bro, that's a damn good question, Josh. I mean, I'm not exactly missing it too much, but as said, Christina knew about the back entrance and she had more than 5 minutes to get out, but she decided to be stupid. Well, I don't think you decide to be stupid. You just are genuinely stupid, but yes. So I says, I'm serious. That's why I asked for your opinion. I only watch. Oh, no. In my opinion, I don't think it's. No, seriously, Andrea. I thought he was. I seriously thought Spider was joking. I listen. Okay. I'm gonna sit there and say this again. I don't think Beyond the Gates is a terrible soap opera. I just don't think that it's. I don't think it's really that great. Look, I know you don't watch this soap opera, okay? But there's a show called The Young and Restless. It's a slow burn, right? I'm gonna tell you this much: when The Young and the Restless is better than Beyond the Gates, there's a fucking problem. Okay, right now, even Bold and the Beautiful has been more interesting to me than Beyond the Gates. If I had to sit there and rank the soap operas from best to worst, or from like whatever, Beyond the Gates would be last. Beyond the Gates would just be last. Um, I just, Ariana, it's like I don't know what they're trying to make Danny to be. It's like they try to make Danny. I feel like Danny's the best out of the bunch, and that's not really saying much. That's really not saying much. Yeah, Ed, and you know what? In a sense, Beyond the Gates is definitely not the second best. It is not the third best. Not the second best. My ass. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I think that's quite a show. I think it's partly trolling, but to be fair, he doesn't watch the other soap operas, so like I get it. What about Beyond the Gates do you not like? Because at first it would have, I would agree like the first and second and third, but I feel like it's picking up. There's parts of the show that's interesting, but there's characters that are just kind of dumb. I mean, besides the forced slang that they do, which just gets really irritating after a while, because I'm cool with the show being modern, right? When they talk about things like the shade room or whatever, like I'm cool with that. But like the forced slang, um, Samantha Smith, they're trying to act like she's a teenager, and the chick look like she's around 40 something years old. Chelsea, anything that involves Chelsea, it's just hard to watch. What's good, Dave? Um, there was too much Danny in the beginning. This this thing is off when the storylines are kind of weak, and so are the leads. And YNR is actually doing pretty good so far. Leslie is a goddamn joke. Leslie comes on and she just comes across as just very cartoonish, like cartoonish villain that just starts to get annoying after a while, right? Cat, who originally just came across as just prissy and like bully and like spoiled brat, at least she's interested. And that's saying that's like a low bar for me. But at least she's interesting, right? I would take Cat over Chelsea any goddamn day of the week. And that's not a good thing. Like Jess said, Jess had a problem with Andre, like they didn't know what to do with him. And essentially he was just kind of being, well, everywhere and just being a constant man whore. And Ashley Ashley and Derek were just boring as hell. And then Ashley just became like, girl, you're the type of person that when you get a good mate, you don't know how to sit there and act. You turn good men into assholes. Just as Chelsea storyline sucks, nobody cares. And that's the thing, Spider. And I got that too. And that's why I was there giving her a lot of grace, right? But like the problem with that was that like they started to become very obsessive with each other. You know, it was like Danny was always talking about Billy and Haley, and Billy and Haley was always talking about Danny. I'm like, seriously? And of course, Haley just coming across as a goddamn airhead. Like, I would have been much more better. I would have been a lot happier if she would have been trying to use Bill, maybe trying to off him or whatever. Instead, she's not there trying to reclaim this friendship with Naomi. And I'm like, girl, you chose her dad over her. And you want to sit there and talk about, well, I won't sit there and give up on our friendship. Like, what are you talking about? Sean says Daniel should tell Tess he likes her, but I think he's scared of being rejected. What? Just says I've been told you Haley was an airhead. Yes, yes, you have. You have. And to be fair, Jess, you know why I got distracted by Haley. So we we're not gonna sit there. You're right, but you know why I was distracted by Haley. And to be honest, I kinda knew that too. But have a good night, Ed. No, Haley don't even have a goddamn child. And you know what's really funny is like, I mean, let's be honest, Jerry. I knew that too, and after a while, it got kind of annoying. But like, Jess was right. It would have been more interesting if they would have played her more as the vixen. You know, like she targeted Dan. I mean, she targeted Bill, and you know, like she, especially since he put out $1 million life policy or life insurance policy. Okay, Haley, you want to sit there and off him and try to get that money, whatever, because you keep you're either faking a baby, and why are you faking a baby for? Like, see, Jess, this is exactly why when Spider said that Beyond the Gates was yeah, Beyond the Gates was like the second or the third. I was like, what? The Young and the Restless is being better than Beyond the Gates. That's a show that, well, let's put it this way. Somebody paid Jess to sit there and watch. And although she still refused to watch it, I'm gonna sit there and tell you right now, it's still better than Beyond the Gates. That's why I'm like, yo, listen, when people listen to this saying like, oh, I'm so sad that Beyond the Gates, isn't on this week, I was like, yeah, I'll be alright. Sean said the nurse is a funny character. The nurse on what show? Yeah, Jeff know what I'm talking about because I'm still surprised that shit happened. Though. I mean, he kept his word, so I don't know if you know this, but they're one. What one? You think when Hillary gets exposed, Danny and Bill get together because I think they do. Well, it's funny. Nikisha and Jess also said the same thing. Like they still have this attraction to each other. Right? I do, Jess, and it is Bill. It is Bill. Bill is still my favorite character, even though I'm not gonna lie, he was kind of acting like a little bitch when he was in the hospital. But Bill is my favorite character, though, because he's messy. I mean, Jess, let's be honest, the bar is kind of low as far as having a favorite character on that show. I don't say that shit with like, I don't say that shit gleefully, but like, most of the characters are either kind of decent or they're so at best. So it's like, I'm just saying, Cherry, like, you watch Beyond the Gates, it's not like the characters like, oh man, I can't wait till this person comes back. Oh man, I can't wait till that person comes back. Let me put it this way. I can still think of some favorite characters on One Life to Live, right? I can still think of some favorite characters on One Life to Live. I can't do that for Beyond the Gates. The bar is set kind of low. The bar is set even lower on as far as who my favorite characters are on Bold and the Beautiful, because I don't really think I have any. Bill could be an interesting character. Deacon is kind of chill, but I don't really have any favorites. Brian says, I don't know if you know this, but there will be no new episodes. Oh, and Jesus, okay, wow. Oh, so I guess it'll just be the three soap operas. But thank you for letting me know, Ryan. Spike Craig says Nicole has been getting on my nerves lately, though. Yeah, I can see that. Um, Especially with the whole Andre thing, and like, see the problem with Nicole. Well, one of the problems with Nicole is that when she gets angry and she starts getting all judgy, her voice starts to get very high pitched. So anything that she says at that point is just irritating as you know. That is correct, Ryan, and also my dad's birthday. So I won't be streaming on Friday. Yeah, that's true. But I will be streaming on Saturday and Sunday though, and I got some good surprises for members that I'm very excited about. I will sit there and say that. So definitely, definitely enjoy it. Tomorrow, like I said, I have a surprise. I'm not going to say what it is because it's a surprise. But yeah, and you're right. Oh well, no, Ryan. My surprise for the regular stream is tomorrow. But I have another. Okay, so technically I have two surprises. One for the regular stream and one for Saturday. You know what I mean? Just says what the surprise. Well, I mean, it's a surprise. I'm not going to say what the surprise is. I mean, that's the point. It's a surprise. This is the part where Justin didn't say I hate surprises, which is so weird. But you know what? It's fine. I haven't seen you in a while. I miss seeing you, so I'm gonna let that slide. But surprises are surprises. Thank you, Stephen. I would definitely sit there and tell him tonight. No, it's not sushi. Uh, like clockwork. You know what? I'm not even gonna. I get it. I can't tell you. It's a surprise. That's the whole point. Although I'm not gonna lie. They're both equally. They're both equal. Tomorrow's gonna be a surprise. And that's gonna be fun. But the surprise this weekend. That's gonna be a little bit more fun. I'll say that. Well, that's the thing, though, Ryan. I don't know Susan Lucci. I met her, but like I don't know her. Um, she walked, like I said, she walked out. She walked in at my job, and I talked to her, but I don't know her like that. Now we're not like on a first name basis, but she just happens to live in the area where I used to work at. But I mean, like I said, she's it was just weird. Yes. Just says Gio is kind of doing the most. Why quit school? Because you're mad at your parents. I mean, like, it's not so much about quitting school, but like, he doesn't want to do the violin. Like, you saw the video, you saw the episode. He doesn't want to do the violin anymore. He feel like the violin is tainted because of his memories with the violin and growing up and stuff. And he feels like he's going to quit school because hell, he's not going to be on a scholarship anymore. I don't know. Part of me is just kind of looking at it as like I don't do breaks, so like at this point, I'm like, okay, Gio, like I don't trust the Quartermains, and I don't trust my family, and I'm kind of just like, bro, how long are you gonna sit there and deal with this? Like, don't get me wrong, and I know I'm probably one of those people that's like being kind of an asshole because let's be honest, we were all kind of sitting there being like, God damn, Gio, you've been on contract and you haven't done shit like nearly the first year that you got here, and now he's getting a major story, and we're all happy about that. Okay, we're all happy about that, but I don't know, maybe it was just today. Maybe it was just me being just so relaxed today and just being like, bro, how long we got to sit there and deal with your little titty tantrum? Like, yeah, okay, I get it. You know, Brooklyn didn't want you. Dante was treating you like an asshole. But like, at some point, you're gonna have to run into them. Like, unless you plan on leaving, you got money to leave. No, well then at some point, you're gonna have to sit there and deal with your problems. You're gonna have to deal with your problems. Like, see, the reason why I feel like an asshole is because remember when we sat there and looked at Michael and Willow and Drew. Well, Michael, Willow, and Drew, and we specifically called Drew and yeah, and we specifically called Drew and Willow boring. We specifically called them boring. It's amazing how we went from they were boring to I hate Drew. I think Drew is the worst character in all time of General Hospital. You know, before y'all was sitting there saying y'all thought he was boring as hell. And now y'all hate him? Really? Huh. Just give me an idea for another surprise. Fran said, did Brooklyn not want him, or did she feel she couldn't give him what he needed because there's a difference? Absolutely, there's a difference. The problem is, right, is that Gio doesn't see it that way. See, like, we as adults can sit there and look at that and be like, she made the best choice possible, right? And, you know, Ryan, again, this is my whole thing with Daisy, right? Like, Aaron says Gio's doing a lot. Yeah, he is doing. He's doing the most. My whole thing, Ryan, is that, and I think you're missing the point of what I'm trying to say, is that people weren't happy with Drew and Willow, and people are still not happy with Drew and Willow. So ultimately, what it comes down to is you can't please everyone. That's what it comes down to. Stephen says maybe Natalia is more interesting on the other side. I think Natalia was more interesting when the actress was playing a character named Maria Santos. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I mean, they didn't. They attempted to do something with her, but ultimately it wound up falling flat. See, I think the idea was that they wanted her to be a romantic lead for Sunny. They wanted her to be a romantic lead for Sunny, and for whatever reason, that didn't happen. Right? I thought it was interesting what they did with her as far as her daughter. Like her being, very anti gay or bigot or whatever, right? But then what do they want to do? They want to find an actress that played Blaze. They want to bring in Marco, and Marco had the same issues that Blaze had with her. They wasn't doing nothing with her as far as Sunny. She got fired from Deception. So, like, in a reality, where was this character supposed to go? Ariana says Sasha needs to loosen up her grip on Daisy. She's into Michael, so he needs to pull her claws back some. Michael needs to sit there and fight for that damn child. Okay? I think that this is absolutely insane with the way that Sasha has been going. First of all, again, your child isn't there being like messed with essentially, right? They're changing they're changing the child's clothes. They're moving the child's position around. Girl, either get a nanny cam or get the hell up out of it. Okay. When Cody sat there and said, there's places like Grand Central because we have so many people in this house, anybody could have been sitting there messing around with this child. Like what are we doing at this point? That's why I'm like, you know, at one point she seemed like she was concerned, and Cody was like, "Okay, I get it because of Liam and stuff like that. You took so long to get to this journey as far as being a mother again. Exactly. Why don't they have a nanny cam? They had a nanny cam when you had Drew and Willow sitting there bumping and grinding. You don't have a nanny cam for this? Like, what are we doing at this point? Why is this not a more of a pro? I, I'm I don't even know what to say about that. Like, honestly, tell you the truth, even if either get a nanny cam, get Michael on board, or get that baby the fuck up out of there. Oh, I don't want to hurt Monica's feelings. Well, then do something. My God, damn, it's like seriously, where's nanny cam and what if it's all in Sasha's head? I like that. What if it's all in Sasha's head? Hmm. Well, then that's the problem. But I'm like, girl, you have options. Yeah, what if, like, seriously, what if it's all in Sasha's head? I like that better than it being Willow. Well, Jess, let's be honest. The reason why most people want it to be Willow is because people already don't like Willow. Okay, so like it being Willow just is like, oh, it could have been Drew. Drew could have paid somebody. Hmm. That'd be interesting, Ariana. She should join a writing team at this point. She should join the goddamn writing team. I mean, it happened with Carly. I mean, not the whole delusion part, but Carly had postpartum depression. So yeah, totally possible. I mean, it's funny. A lot of people think they're saying, "Well, Nell is coming back. Nell is coming back," but the Nell is coming back. And it's funny. I'm watching The Bold and the Beautiful, and I'm sitting there thinking, because Luna essentially is kind of turning into Nell in a sense. Like she's very one track mind, right? Remember how Nell was like, "Oh, well, this is Carly's fault. Carly did this and Carly did that. I don't have a good life because of Carly." Luna's doing the exact same shit. Luna's like, "Oh well, I can't have a relationship with my father because of Steffi, and I can't be close to my father because of Steffi, and like this is all Steffi's fault. Steffi doesn't know what it's like to sit there and grow, and it just get to a point. Like I was sitting there watching it today, and I'm like, this is like now 2.0 all over again. It's interesting when you sit there and you watch the plot soap operas, right? You start to notice that they start to borrow certain. Damn, Jess, you missed so much. We sat there and we watched. Listen, if I get a chance, Jess, when you start to come to the members thing, I'll start to sit there and put on some more. Oh yeah, Jess. No, Jess. Some people just belong in jail. Let Let's be honest, Jess. Some people just belong in jail. But Jess, when you start coming back into the member circle, into the member streams again, I have to sit there and put you on some passion stuff, on some passion episodes. But you start to notice that there's certain similarities. Right? Yeah, Luna's ass definitely belongs in jail, which is crazy because, like I said, just and I said this before. I'll sit there and say this again. What's good, LaShawn? Um, it's a wild ride how they've done the Luna character because she started off as a good girl for the most part with RJ. And then they decide to make her a villain. You know, now she's sitting there talking about when she sat there and said that. What's his name again? What? Okay, what's the Bold and the Beautiful guy's name? That's black. I don't really give him much of a story. It's not Carter. What's his name? What is his name? Chat. What is his name? I seriously forgot his name. That's not a good thing, by the way, because the dude was actually seemed like he was. Have a night, Cherry. She said that she had the best sex of her life, and I can't remember what his name is. Holy shit! They really have not had that character on the show in a while. What is his name? Paris and Zende. Thank you, Black Mon Zende. Shit, I actually forgot his name. Yo, that's not good, by the way. Zende. It's really sad when I actually couldn't remember his name. Have a night, Ryan. That's actually really sad when I couldn't remember Zende's name. Oh my god, I can't even remember his name. Thank you, Black Mon. So yeah, she said that she, quote unquote, she had the best sex of her life. Meanwhile, Zende was sitting there feeling like shit, and Carter and Brooke was sitting there coming down on Zende hard. Right? This is when they made her a villain. Then what did they do? She winds up offing two people. They put her in jail. Bill has this power out of nowhere, gets this girl pardoned off of two double murders. What's good, Warrior Hero? Two double murders. And so she comes back out. Just as then they felt so off about it just for them to change the storyline. This is actually just this is Bold and Beautiful right there. This is Bold and Beautiful. So what did he do? He felt like shit. Okay. He almost felt in reality, they said it without saying. Then they felt like he took advantage of somebody who couldn't give consent. I don't think I have to sit there and tell y'all what that comes down to. Was that during Black History Month, by the way? I'm just very curious. So, which is so awful. So, yeah, she gets off on two double murders. Then she finds out that Finn is her father. She wants to have a relationship with Finn. Steffi's like hell to the knot because Steffi is controlling and, well, let's be honest, Finn doesn't have balls. He handed his balls over to her when he decided to get married. And now she's become very one note, just like now. Soap operas, huh? Oh shit, okay. I dabble in a lot of stuff when I do this stuff on YouTube. And soap operas is a very interesting and complex field. You know, I'll sit there and say this again since Jess got here. Back in the day, it used to be like the Wild West because people would argue about these soap opera characters, which I still find to be fucking silly and stupid and shit. But people like these characters not so much of the characters, but because of what they stand for. You know, Jess likes Joss for the most part. I like Jason. I like Sunny ish, right? And Ryan likes Michael. Okay, I'm sorry. Ryan loves Michael. Yeah, Ryan loves Michael for reasons that I'm not going to get into. But he also loves him what Michael stands for, right? So when somebody argues against him, they're arguing against what he stands for. And if Ryan stands for that, then there's a problem. And I think that's why people tend to get so passionate about these characters. Um, Soap operas are a very interesting and fun field to sit and get into. I don't know, 6 years now? Or 5 years? I know it's in a couple months it'll be 6 years. So fun stuff. And we do not talk about The Young and the Restless. I swear I'm gonna have to sit there and want to start doing reviews on The Young and the Restless. I'll put that in notes. Well, I think I'm going to sit in the stream here. This was a lot of fun. I'll be back tomorrow with a surprise. And then Saturday, I'll be back with some more surprises. Um, but I do want to thank everyone for joining. This was a hell of a lot of fun, as usual. Thank you so much for coming through. If you are not a member, make sure you become one. This week is going to be fun. This weekend is going to be fun. So definitely join. Have a night, Stefan. Have a night, Queen Jess. Have a night, Warrior Hero. Have a night, Blackmon. Have a good night. Oh, yeah, your second night to you, Ryan. Have a night, Jonathan. Have a night, Queen of the South. Have a night, Queen Janet. Have a night, Ronnie Ron, who have a night, Warrior Hero. Have a night, LaShawn. And yeah. Anybody else who I missed, have a nice Spiderquake. And anybody else who I missed, you know exactly who you are. I'll see you in the next stream. Laters.